You know, growing up as a kid, a pale kid. I was wearing glasses as well. I've been cross-eyed my entire life. I was the perfect case to be bullied in school. I think there's certain parts of my story that everyone can relate to. My name is Jacob Winneche. I go under the gamer nick Pimp. I've been living in Denmark my entire life, apart from 1 year abroad where I was in Los Angeles living and playing Counter-Strike. That's also what I do today. Instead of playing professional Counter-Strike, I commentate Counter-Strike, I analyze Counter-Strike, and I create content around Counter-Strike. So my entire work life right now is situated around this wonderful game called Counter-Strike.
Do you remember when you were little, like this age, and your biggest dream were to be in Formula 1, but not to race? Your dream was to be the guy who waved the flag.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, I want to be in sports. I want to go with a flag and say, yeah, red flag.
I actually forgot about that.
You have big aspirations.
What's wrong with you? I think when I was young, I had the classic childhood dreams, you know, being a professional football player, being an astronaut or something ridiculous like that. Sports have always been a big part of my life. My sister, who's 5 years older than me, went to the same football club I ended up going to. My dad was a coach in the local football club as well. I think the big attraction for me was competing. I've always been obsessed to beat the other guys. I wanted to beat myself. I wanted to apply pressure to myself. And that's also what attracted me a lot with Counter-Strike. And I think within the first couple of months I realized that, okay, I'm significantly better than pretty much everyone I'm playing with. I remember winning the first local Danish event, and from that point onwards I went to win around 10 bigger Danish LAN events. And ever since I never looked back. That has been my life. That's been what I've been striving for. It's been my motivation.
But it's funny because you have there's a lot of pictures from when you were little and doing sports, but there was like a whole time period where you just didn't do anything.
Yeah.
We just, you know, you were just sitting in front of the computer and eating chips and drinking sodas and stuff, and then you just got big, and it was kind of weird because you always liked to be active, and then just one day you just nah.
You're right. It does feel like when I was like looking at these pictures as well, there is a void in my life where all I did was basically go to school, go back home and play Counter-Strike.
Yeah, and have a hot dog on the way home.
Spoke about that too, yeah. They were cheap though. And good.
Yeah.
I think it started when I was around 12, 13, like basically from the moment as I recall it, I got into gaming. That's also when I started to go to less football practices. It's when I started to do less activities, and that's when I started to gain weight.
But it's funny, like a picture like this, it's sort of the cliche or like stereotype of a gamer.
I was living the stereotype. You know?
Yeah.
I was sitting in my room a lot and playing computer games. To be completely honest, I could be done at school at 2. Then I'd go to the gas station. I'd eat probably a cake, buy a hot dog, buy a Coca-Cola, 2 bags of chips, and another. And that became almost a daily routine for me. You know, and I was always like, who cares? You know, I'm anyway getting bullied. I'm anyway, you know, in a situation where I just go home and play Counter-Strike. So I didn't feel that it would affect anyone else but me. I think that's what I was the most obsessed about. One thing is not feeling comfortable in your own body, but another thing for me was to feel that I made people around me feel uncomfortable as well. I remember the turning point for me mentally. I remember doing an interview, and I remember watching that interview, and I remember thinking, holy moly, like, this cannot be true. I was hitting rock bottom in that regard. I never felt as uncomfortable in my own body. I could definitely feel that I was losing control. When you want to lose weight and when you want to change something drastically, there's always a lot of first steps. You gotta work up to it. And I found all the different ways of motivating myself. I want to be able to play football again. I want to be able to go for a bike ride. I want to be able to make my mom proud. I want to be able to impress a girl. I want to be able to feel comfortable in my own body. I found all these different avenues of motivation over time, that it was enough for me to be like, okay, now I'm doing it. And then I'd do it for a day and a half and I'd be like, nah, not worth it, another bag of chips. I failed countless of times. Like there's been so many times where I thought, you got it, you know, today I got it. Today I'm waking up and I'm feeling for it, and then I'd instantly relapse the next day. You're bound to fail. You're bound to feel losses. You're bound to feel disappointments, and all those disappointments, all those losses, all those failures change the narrative. Then I would, you know, think of something new that would motivate me. I would figure out, you know, something new about myself. It took probably a year from when I was thinking to myself, you gotta do something now, before it all clicked. It's like when you were running the first time, I felt like my legs were just a couple of cement blocks. When I picked up the bike ride here, I went 1 kilometer and I had to stop because I was physically feeling unwell. I think the main goal was that I wanted to be healthier, becoming able to do whatever the hell I wanted to do with and in my own body, instead of being trapped. Yeah, I mean, you don't go through a big weight loss without having some sort of scars left. I have a massive scar starting from up here, going all the way down through this point as well, and all the way down here, ending in a little strip down here below the waist. So what they did was they cut me up open right here, so they could drag the skin together, sort of, and they also cut me up down here, so they could take the skin basically and just tear it down. Obviously, this body has been tested. It's no longer factory new, as a Counter-Strike gamer would call it.
It got how big it was. You were just like, oh well, they're gonna remove some skin, and then you were just like lying in bed for a week, and mom had to take care of you, and I was just like, well, good for you.
For a week, I literally was laying on my back for 2.5 weeks. I couldn't move.
It's like you're a child again.
I couldn't do anything by myself. I swear to God, that was the worst period of my life. You know, when I started, I thought it'd be cool if I could weigh less than 100 kilos. And once I got below 100 kilos, well, now I wanted below 90, and then I wanted below 80, and then I wanted below, almost below 70 to a point which was, you know, in the other direction where I got too skinny. It was also a very cautious decision I made, because I knew at the time that I wanted to get a skin removal surgery. And in my mind, the more weight I lost, the more I cut down myself, the more loose skin I would have, the more they could remove, and then the easier I would have it to build it up again. Today I'm at a place where I'm completely comfortable in my own body. I have no issues with the scar. I have no issues with the places on my body where there's still a bit of loose skin. It's my journey, it's my story, and it's my tattoos in a way. I don't have any tattoos on my body, and people always ask me why, and I say I have my scars, and that's enough. I remember the very first goal I set for myself was that I want to be able to play football again. One of the greatest things about becoming more healthy and acquiring the freedom over my body again is definitely the mental side of it. Like all these negative associated feelings, they would slowly but surely disappear. To a point today where I never really address it anymore. I don't have those feelings anymore, and I feel free, I feel happy, and I feel I have way more capacity to deal with more important stuff. I am very, very, very certain about the fact that any goals you may have in your life, one size doesn't fit all. It doesn't for me, it doesn't for you, it doesn't for anyone else. But I think there's certain parts of my story that everyone can relate to. I think people sometimes need to hear that it's okay to struggle, it's okay to fail, it's okay not to be able to reach your goal instantly. I always have new goals to achieve. I'm never done. Right now I'm focused on training up for an Ironman. I am most certain that if I do it in 10 hours, then next time I want to do it in 9. And if I do it in 9, I want to do it in 8. I'm not chasing a weight loss. I'm not chasing any sort of drastic change in my life. I'm just chasing a better version of myself and a healthier version. The ability to go AFK, to remove myself from the gaming space just once in a while, to recharge the batteries, to feel the desire to get back in, is essential to me.